If you want to change your life, stop looking at your circumstances and start looking at your assumptions. Reality is not something you fight, it's something you create. What you consistently imagine, believe, and accept as true becomes your world. Today, we're not talking about money. We're talking about the habits that silently keep it away from you. Most people never realize that the biggest limitation in their life is not money, education, or opportunity. It is the identity they silently accept every day. The moment you assume, "This is all I can be," you create an invisible boundary that shapes every decision you make. You don't try certain things, you don't take risks, and you don't even notice opportunities because your mind filters them out. Your actions are always aligned with your self-image, not your potential. If you believe you are someone who struggles, you will unconsciously behave in ways that maintain that struggle. If you believe you are not capable of building wealth, you will avoid situations that could prove otherwise. The subconscious mind works like a program that runs on repetition. It does not analyze whether something is true or false. It simply accepts what you consistently tell it. When someone repeats, "I'm not good with money," or "people like me don't succeed," or "I never get lucky," those statements become instructions. Over time, they turn into automatic behaviors, emotional reactions, and habitual thinking patterns. You begin to act in alignment with those beliefs without even realizing it. You might hesitate before making an investment, delay starting a business, or settle for less than what you truly want, all because your internal identity is holding you back. This is why two people with the same resources can end up in completely different places. One assumes growth, expansion, and success, while the other assumes limitation and fear. The difference is not in ability, it is in assumption. For example, someone who believes, "I can figure things out," will approach challenges with curiosity and persistence. Even when they fail, they interpret it as progress. On the other hand, someone who assumes, "I'm not capable," will see the same challenge as proof that they should stop trying. The external situation may be identical, but the internal meaning assigned to it creates entirely different outcomes. Identity also influences how others respond to you. When you carry yourself with certainty, people treat you differently. When you doubt yourself, that doubt is reflected back through missed opportunities and lack of trust. This creates a feedback loop where your assumptions shape your behavior shapes your results, and your results reinforce your assumptions. Over time, this loop becomes your reality. Breaking this habit requires a conscious shift in identity before any external change appears. Instead of waiting for evidence, you decide who you are and persist in that assumption. You begin to think, feel, and act from the version of yourself that already has what you want. Even if your current circumstances do not reflect it, you stop identifying with them. You interrupt old patterns by replacing them with new statements and reinforcing them through repetition and emotion. Gradually, your subconscious accepts the new identity, and your actions begin to align with it naturally. The key is understanding that you are not changing your life directly. You are changing the concept of yourself, and your life follows automatically. Most people live their lives reacting to what they see instead of creating what they want. They check their current situation and let it dictate how they think and feel. If the bank account is low, they feel anxious. If results are slow, they feel discouraged. If opportunities are missing, they assume nothing is working. This constant reaction to circumstances traps them in a loop where the present keeps reproducing itself. When you think from what is, you reinforce it. When you emotionally accept your current situation as final, you unconsciously recreate it again and again. Living in the end means shifting your awareness away from what is happening now and placing it on what you have already decided is yours. It is not about ignoring reality. It is about choosing which reality you give power to. The moment you define a goal, the external world becomes secondary. What matters is the internal experience you generate. You begin to think, feel, and behave as if the result is already achieved. This changes the way you carry yourself, the decisions you make, and the risks you are willing to take. Your actions stop being driven by fear and start being guided by certainty. The subconscious mind responds strongly to feelings, not just thoughts. If you constantly feel lack, stress, or doubt, you are reinforcing the idea that you do not have what you want. That emotional state becomes familiar, and your mind works to maintain it. For example, someone who repeatedly checks their finances with worry is not just observing their situation. They are strengthening the belief that they are not financially secure. That belief then influences their behavior, making them more cautious, hesitant, or even avoidant when opportunities appear. The cycle continues because the internal state never changes. When you live in the end, you deliberately generate the emotional state of already having what you desire. Instead of waiting for success to feel confident, you feel confident first. Instead of waiting for money to feel secure, you feel secure now. This may seem unnatural at first because it contradicts current evidence, but the subconscious mind does not rely on external proof. It responds to repetition and emotional intensity. The more consistently you embody the feeling of your desired outcome, the more natural it becomes and the more your behavior aligns with it. Practical examples make this clear. Imagine two individuals with the same financial situation. One constantly worries, complains, and focuses on limitations. The other assumes that things are improving and acts accordingly. The second person might invest in learning new skills, approach opportunities with confidence, and network without fear of rejection. Their assumption influences their actions, and their actions gradually change their results. The difference started internally, not externally. Living in the end also removes the need for constant validation. You are no longer dependent on immediate results to stay motivated because you have already accepted the outcome mentally. This creates persistence without pressure. Instead of forcing things to happen, you move with a sense of certainty that guides your decisions naturally. Over time, this alignment between belief, emotion, and action reshapes your external world to match your internal state. Most people believe their past is fixed, something that happened to them and cannot be changed. They carry it as proof of who they are, using old experiences to justify current limitations. Every failure, rejection, or mistake becomes part of their identity. They replay these memories, talk about them, and emotionally relive them, reinforcing the same patterns in their subconscious mind. What they don't realize is that the past is not just history. It is an active script that continues to influence their present behavior and future outcomes. The mind does not store memories as objective facts. It stores them as interpretations filled with emotion. Each time you recall an event, you are not simply remembering it, you are reconstructing it. This means the story can be altered, reshaped, and redefined. However, most people unknowingly repeat the same version of their past, strengthening the emotional impact and making it feel even more real. If someone constantly tells themselves, "I failed before," that statement becomes a command that shapes their confidence and actions. It creates hesitation, fear of trying again, and a tendency to expect the same negative outcome. Revision is the process of consciously changing the meaning of past events so they no longer limit you. Instead of accepting a memory as it is, you reimagine it in a way that supports your desired identity. This does not mean denying that something happened. It means changing how it exists in your mind. The subconscious does not distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you repeatedly revise a memory with strong emotion, the new version begins to replace the old emotional imprint. Over time, this changes how you feel about similar situations and how you respond to them. For example, someone who experienced rejection in a job interview may carry the belief that they are not good enough. This belief influences future interviews, making them nervous and unsure, which often leads to the same result. Through revision, they can replay that moment in their mind and imagine it going differently, speaking confidently, being appreciated, and receiving a positive response. By doing this repeatedly, the emotional charge of the original memory fades and a new sense of confidence emerges. When they face a similar situation again, their behavior reflects this new internal state. Another example is financial mistakes. Many people hold on to past losses or poor decisions, using them as evidence that they are bad with money. This creates fear around taking new opportunities, leading to inaction or overly cautious behavior. By revising those experiences, seeing them as valuable lessons, imagining making better decisions, and associating them with growth, the individual changes their relationship with money. This shift allows them to act with more clarity and confidence, which leads to different outcomes over time. The key to revision is consistency and emotional involvement. It is not a one-time exercise but a repeated practice of choosing a new story until it feels natural. As the revised memories take root, the subconscious begins to operate from this updated script, influencing thoughts, decisions, and reactions automatically. The past no longer acts as a limitation, but becomes a foundation that supports the identity you choose to embody. You are not poor because of your reality. You are poor because of the habits that create it. Change what you assume. Live as if it's already yours. Rewrite the story that holds you back. And one day, you won't recognize the life you're living because it will finally match the one you imagined.